In 2014, a landmark DNA study set out to examine hair samples believed to belong to legendary creatures such as Bigfoot, the Yeti, the Almas, the Yowie, and other mysterious primates from around the world. Rather than relying on eyewitness accounts or folklore, researchers turned to genetic analysis to determine whether any of these samples came from an unknown species. The results became one of the most widely discussed scientific investigations in cryptozoology, and they continue to shape the debate today. Whether you're a skeptic, a believer, or simply fascinated by the unknown, understanding what this study actually found is essential. Here's a breakdown of the research, what the DNA revealed, and what it means for the search for legendary creatures. In 2014, geneticist Professor Brian Sykes and an international team of researchers published the peer-reviewed study titled Genetic Analysis of Hair Samples Attributed to Yeti, Bigfoot, and Other Anomalous Primates. Their goal was simple: determine whether any alleged cryptid hair samples belonged to an unknown primate species. Researchers invited museums, cryptozoologists, private collectors, and investigators worldwide to submit hair samples that were believed to originate from mysterious creatures. A total of 57 samples were received from locations including the United States, Canada, Russia, India, Bhutan, Indonesia, Australia, and the Himalayan region. The scientists extracted mitochondrial DNA from each sample and compared the genetic sequences against existing DNA databases to identify the species. Unlike visual identification, DNA analysis provides a highly reliable method of determining an animal's identity when sufficient genetic material is available. The overwhelming majority of samples were identified as belonging to known animals. These included species such as brown bears, black bears, dogs, wolves, horses, deer, cattle, raccoons, badgers, humans, and porcupines. In other words, many hairs believed to belong to cryptids were actually from ordinary wildlife or domestic animals. Importantly, no submitted hair sample was identified as belonging to an unknown ape, hominin, or previously undiscovered primate. Although most samples were straightforward to identify, two hairs collected from the Himalayan region attracted significant attention. One sample originated from Ladakh in northern India, while another came from Bhutan. When compared with available genetic databases, both appeared to closely resemble DNA recovered from an ancient polar bear estimated to have lived more than 40,000 years ago. This unexpected result led researchers to suggest several possible explanations: a previously unstudied Himalayan bear population, hybridization between brown bears and polar bears, limitations within the available genetic reference databases, another as yet unidentified bear lineage. Importantly, the researchers did not conclude these samples came from a Yeti. Following the publication of the study, additional genetic research focused specifically on Himalayan bears would later change the picture. These studies found that Himalayan brown bears and Tibetan brown bears possess unique genetic characteristics resulting from long periods of geographic isolation. Today, many wildlife geneticists believe the unusual 2014 DNA results are best explained by these distinctive Himalayan bear populations rather than evidence of an unknown primate. Does this study prove Bigfoot or the Yeti don't exist? No. This is one of the most misunderstood aspects of the research. The study did not prove that legendary creatures cannot exist. Instead, it demonstrated something much more specific. Among the 57 hair samples submitted for testing, none provided genetic evidence for an unknown primate. Science rarely proves a negative. Instead, each study evaluates the evidence available at the time. Future discoveries involving high-quality DNA, bones, tissue, environmental DNA, eDNA, or other verifiable biological material would require their own independent scientific investigation. The 2014 research marked an important milestone because it shifted part of the conversation away from eyewitness testimony and toward physical evidence. Modern genetics allows scientists to test biological samples objectively rather than relying solely on photographs, footprint casts, or anecdotal reports. For cryptozoology as a field, this represents an important direction. Claims can be tested, evidence can be verified, misidentified samples can be eliminated. Genuine anomalies, if they exist, can be investigated scientifically. Regardless of where someone stands on the existence of cryptids, applying rigorous scientific methods helps separate folklore from biological evidence.